Good evening and welcome to this West Orange Board of Education public meeting on this October 18th, 2021. And we want to welcome those of you who are here with us in person as well as those who are viewing. And I just want to announce that the chat on the live stream is not being monitored and will not be responded to. So I am calling this meeting to order. Love my gavel. All righty, so good evening, Dr. Cascone, fellow members of the board, our student liaisons, and Mrs. Flowers. And Mrs. Flowers, would you please take roll call?
Good evening, everyone. Roll call, please. Mrs. Huerta.
Here.
Ms. Merkinger.
Here.
Mr. Rothstein.
Here.
Vice President Tunnicliffe.
Here.
President Trigg-Scales.
Here.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Flowers. And as we move into consideration of the closed and public meeting minutes of September 30th and October 4th, which is attachment 1, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Vice President Tunnicliffe. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Huerta. And any discussion? There being none, Mrs. Flowers, would you please take the vote?
Mrs. Huerta.
Yes.
Ms. Merkinger.
Yes.
Mr. Rothstein.
Yes.
Vice President Tunnicliffe.
Yes.
President Trigg-Scales.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. And that's going to move us right into our student liaison report. So we have Rhoda Oni with us tonight and Baharam Marit.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is Rhoda Oni. If you don't know me, I am one of the 4 student liaisons, and I am giving you the rundown of the report from school. So this week, last week we participated in Senior Fun Day. Woohoo! Yay, seniors! It was extremely fun. We actually thank you for the opportunity for doing this because we understand that it was very difficult to schedule, being that we postponed it multiple times and COVID and everything. A lot of us enjoyed Hungry Hippo and the Mechanical Bull, which I personally went on, but you did not see any footage of that, thank God. So that was extremely fun. So we want to thank you for that opportunity again. This week we're participating in Spirit Week. This week the school will be participating in Spirit Week, where each day students will engage in the theme set for that day. Today was Twin Day, and where multiple students, including myself and Ms. Connors, twinned with one another, and those photos have been posted on our school's Instagram.
Hello, my name is Bahar Maratu. I am the other student liaison. Within this week, we will also be participating in Unity Day on Wednesday, which is a day that raises awareness about preventing bullying, and students will be wearing the color orange to signify their support. Under no circumstance should any child endure bullying, and this day will help to send a clear message that there is no room for bullying within our school and community.
And lastly, on Friday will be our Red Dot Day, where the students will wear red to again acknowledge and signify their support towards the cause. This is to raise awareness towards period poverty and the ignorance that is still present in our society about the aspect of female menstruation. The school will also be collecting period products throughout the week, and we'll be donating these products to the organization. To the foundation that is in collaboration with Senior Amina Anekwe's organization. And that is the rundown for the week.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you sharing all the good things that are happening at the high school. All right, and we're now going to move into superintendent and board reports, and we will begin with our esteemed Superintendent Dr. Kesko.
Thank you, President Trixcales, and good evening, everyone. It's nice to see you tonight, community members who are viewing from home. Before we get to one formal item of business on the agenda, which I'm very excited, and I know the board is as well. And thank you, student liaisons, for those reports. It's great to hear about different events that we're able to do. I've had the opportunity to attend some of them, and they have been some of my favorite moments in a long time. The ability, I tell you, last Friday at the homecoming game and event was just an absolutely amazing community night. Everyone looked great. The band sounded amazing. The cheerleaders, and it really was really cute to see the little ones with the high school kids. And it just gave me a really great feeling and filled me with a tremendous sense of pride for this community. And so, earlier that afternoon, I had gone down to Livingston High School and had a good time walking the cross country course with parents and some of the runners. And just, I think those types of experiences and moments where we're once again able to interact with each other and just have that normalcy is really huge. We have a neat event coming. I'm going to steal Mrs. Merklinger's thunder because I'm sure it's in her report at the end, but I just figure I'll give it a plug because I'm excited to attend it myself. Is the Broadway night tomorrow night with the Glee Club. 7 o'clock in Tarnoff Cafeteria. I've been watching the kids rehearse on Instagram, and it's sure to be a great night. So that's exciting. And there continue to be many other things. I was in Belleville last night to watch the boys and girls soccer teams compete in the county championships. Very proud of both teams. The boys, lost against a very, very tough opponent in Seton Hall, but fought very hard for the full game. And the girls are county champs. So that is quite an accomplishment for them. And neither team is done. There's still regular season to finish and state tournament games. So we look forward to seeing how they play out. But that aside, I want to share just it's sort of kind of a realization to which I came in the last week or so. And yes, there are moments of normalcy, right? And where we feel good, right? And it feels right. But yet at the same time, I think it's important to acknowledge that there's a lot about life nowadays that isn't normal, right? And even if that's just ongoing circumstances and conditions that are different from everything we've ever known or continuing to manage, right? We're wearing masks. That's not something we've typically done in the past, right? So there still are trappings of abnormality with which we're dealing. And of course, there's the impact of, living through what we've lived through for the last 18 months. And so, just pieces of conversation started to come together for me, a conversation with President Trigg-Scales at one point in time, and then with admin and a parent, and it all just sort of came together. And I said, you know what? I said, I think this is a tough time for a lot of people, maybe even for all of us to some extent, but for some people, this continues to be a very tough time, whether we're talking about staff or families or students. And so, one thing I vowed to do is to really start talking about it, to acknowledge that, and not pretend that everything's necessarily the way it was, because it's not, though we continue to move forward, with courageous hearts. And what it also emphasized to me was that we really need to be, as a school district, more deliberate in the way that we're talking about mental health, the way we're supporting mental health, in our systems of support. And I'm not prepared to go into detail about some of the things that we're starting to plan. They're still just in proposal phase at this point in time, but I think it's very promising, some of the resources and services that we're going to offer staff and students. But most importantly, that's really just going to be, people are going to be able to receive those, that it's not going to represent another labor for them, right? Another thing they need to do, but rather just something that's at their disposal, for lack of a better word, to help them. I think that's really important as a community, that we acknowledge that in the way that we interact with one another, the way we treat one another, And that there's really nothing more important than that right now. You know, as important as academics are, and they are, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that they're second to mental health right now, because we have time, and we've always talked about that. We've always talked about the fact that we have time, that whatever academic progress was lost over 18 months, that's not going to be recuperated overnight. That's going to be a path. It's going to be a multi-year path. But if we don't tend to our mental health now, then we're not going to have a foundation from which to build any of that. So you're going to hear me talking a lot about it more. You're going to see that messaged in my community updates. Staff will see that as well. But more importantly, I'm going to put our money where our mouth is and really be able to provide, you know, a robust system of supports for our families, our students, and our staff. So with that, now we have some exciting and very positive news. We're really thrilled to be getting back to our, you know, really a tradition I think we had started to do pretty consistently before the pandemic, which was really using our board meetings to recognize achievements in our community, whether they be from staff and or students. And so tonight, I'm very pleased to have welcomed the board as well, welcomed our technology education department. Am I getting that right? Technology and engineering. I sensed that I messed it up, which is why I asked. Technology and engineering. We have the supervisor of that department, Mr. Del Garcia, here with. I'm very thankful that a number of the department members are here tonight. And I don't want to steal their thunder, because the moment I'm going to ask them to come up and speak about the work and what led to this award, but they received the Program Excellence Award, which is sponsored by the International Technology and Engineering Educators Association, which is, as it says, an international. And that actually, if I'm not mistaken, that used to be the old like trades. Is that right, Mr. Petrella? That used to be the organization for the vocations, if I'm not mistaken, prior to when it morphed into technology and engineering. Anywho, they were recipients of this award, and I'm not going to adulterate it with my half-baked explanation, but rather now I would invite Mr. Del Garcia and team to come up and speak about this prestigious international award that they received, and a little bit about the programs, and the programs that got them this great award. Mr. Del Garcia, the floor is yours.
We were going to bring one of our drones, but the ceilings here are too low. So out of safety, we had decided not to. So on behalf of the department, I want to thank the Board of Ed, Dr. Casco and Principal Moore for all your support and for recognizing us tonight. We really appreciate it. I'd also like to thank the West Orange community and our amazing students who step up to the challenges that we present to them on a daily basis. Our success is a direct result of their success. I remember when I became supervisor, seems like years ago, but our first meeting, I said, you know, we're a small department, but we're an elite department. I said, we're kind of like the Navy SEALs of West Orange High School. But the reason why I said that is all the teachers behind me, they're not just experts in one discipline. They're experts and they have skills in a multitude of disciplines, whether it's science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Add in that they're also experts in machinery and tools, and also experts in a variety of design software. They truly are elite. So I want to call up Deb Cohen. She is our digital photography teacher and electronics.
I got nominated to introduce everybody. So I'm Deb Cohen. I teach photography, electronics, and then a class for the autistic and intellectually disabled concepts of technology. I've also taught intro to engineering. Our program starts in 6th grade with Mr. Fatika, William Fatika, who gives our kids that first foundation of what they need to know to be successful in STEM. And then it continues both at Liberty and Roosevelt. And unfortunately, Ann Zhang and Charlotte Eyes could not be here tonight, but they are doing great things that prepare them for what we do up at the high school. Anthony Praza, graphic design and communication and electronics. You'll see signs that his students have made all over the place, as well as other projects. And he's been a great mentor to me in the electronics department. Katie Gardner, who is our engineering specialist. Sustainable engineering, working currently with the community on the bus shelter that's going to go outside for our students. Cindy Selly, architecture and engineering design, also our 3D printer guru. Max Grossman, who does our woodworking, all our wood shop classes, and introduced the home technologies class this year and are going around the school fixing drywall, which is fabulous. And then Rudy Petrilla, automotive technology, who does the community oil changes at various points as well. I've been in the district 22 years. Praza has been 23 years, and then we go from there. But we have a well-oiled machine now that works together. We collaborate with the leadership of Mr. Del Gercio to bring in the community, to bring in the parents, to bring in the students, and really get the students engaged and excited. Katie has done a fabulous job of increasing our female students in engineering, and Cindy as well. So it's been great to see we're finally starting. I've been teaching electronics for 6 years. I actually have 5 girls in my section of electronics, which is the first time ever. So we're getting them, and they're thriving. So I'm going to reiterate what Mr. Del Gercio said and say thank you for your recognition. And we appreciate it, but he leads the ship. We carry the ship through, and we all work together to make a team.
So I think the thing that really separates us is you hear real world problem solving a lot in education. And we really take that to the next level. Debbie mentioned a couple things I was going to mention. Like last week, it was amazing seeing the students in the home maintenance class actually fixing drywall in the class. In our architecture class, we had students that actually redesigned and did the floor plans of a classroom and office space. They're going to be doing that again next year. I didn't tell you yet, but I have to ask you. So we're working on with Miss Gardner's engineering class, which I'm really excited about, a prosthetics project. We've done it with stuffed animals, and I actually reached out to a rescue organization. Hopefully we do a dog. I'm a dog lover, of a dog in need. We're partnered with a outside industrial 3D printing design company. We want to actually design and fabricate a real prosthetic for a dog in need. So you don't see that in other schools, I can tell you right now, around New Jersey. And our big project, of course, is the bus shelter. So the bus shelter is our solar powered bus shelter. I want to thank Town Councilwoman Sue McCartney for assisting with that. She really got that off the ground and got that running. We hope to unveil that bus shelter this spring. We're following along a good timeline, but the bus shelter is a really good example. We have the wood shop students building the bench. We have the graphic students doing vinyl decals. We have the 3D printing students helping out. And of course, the engineering students are kind of the lead. So we have the space right outside that little courtyard next to the nurse's office. So it's a big shelter. So we're hoping to avail that this spring, but we have a lot of cool projects. We also have the artificial floating island project. Our students will design and fabricate floating islands that we're going to float right at Degnan Pond. That's also in the spring. So look for a lot of continued success from the tech ed department. We have a lot of big projects by the end of the year we hope to accomplish and we will accomplish. So thank you again for recognizing us tonight.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere because I'm going to brag just 1 minute more, and then we'd like to invite you up for certificates and to take a photo with the board. So the Program Excellence Award is sponsored by the International Technology and Educators Association and is one of the highest honors given to technology and engineering education programs. The Program Excellence Award is presented in recognition of outstanding contributions to the profession and students. The Program Excellence Award program is designed to recognize superior K-12 technology and engineering education programs from around the world. These award-winning programs serve as a standard for comparison and models for the development of other programs. Therefore, it is essential that each program selected and recognized reflects contemporary technology engineering education. Awardees serve as models for their colleagues, inspiration to their communities, and leaders in their region, province, or state as proponents of advancing technological literacy for all. Our department, the Tech and Engineering Department, submitted an application to the local NJTEEA first, and then was chosen from all New Jersey applicants to go on to the ITEEA recognition. Elements of the application included program objectives, what the program is designed to do for students, the nature of the daily activities, examples of activities, how the program is integrated within the overall school curriculum, and how they are preparing their students for the future. Model, exemplary, superior.
Would anyone from the board like to assist with the distribution of President Scales? Martin here, would you like to come up and assist? And, maybe one of the last opportunities for both of you. So. Folks, with your name and phone on the stage. First up, Deb Cohn. Cindy Selly. Mr. Braza. Mr. Petrella. Ms. Gardner. Mr. Grossman. And last but not least, Mr. Fatika. Thank you, everyone.
Just before you go, Mr. Delagarcia and company, I just love to be able to give the board just an opportunity just to say a couple of things, okay? So if you could just hang in there with us, we'll be brief. Oh, I got you. I got you. Oh, SG. Okay. All right. Student liaisons, would you like to say anything?
Oh my gosh, okay. Okay. So I personally never took any of these classes, but I do have friends and my sister who graduated a few years ago. She's really old now. But don't tell her I said that. She was part of the community and she gained so much from it. So even though I've personally never taken these classes, I can see how effective these classes are and how important it is. And also just for girl power in general, like my sister joining when at the time she did, it was a very early stage of when women were coming into the STEM world. So I would say thank you because she wouldn't be where she is today working with Microsoft in Canada. If not for the community that came together and brought her up in that light with these classes. So I just want to say thank you and congratulations for the award.
I also never took the classes here, unfortunately, but I've taken courses outside of the school on quantum computation, governor, on STEM fields and things of that nature. And I can say from personal experience that it's a very small field where you see students who look like me, students who look like students from the high school, and seeing that we have programs here that are internationally recognized, who bring some of the things that a lot of other schools don't have within New Jersey, and giving the students of West Orange High School, a lot of minority students, the ability to experience the STEM field and not feel so secluded is something that I find amazing. When I was in a lot of these programs and these fields, I couldn't really relate to a lot of students who were taking these programs, and seeing that we have something, my bad, it kind of chokes me up because of my own personal experience, but seeing like we have programs here that kind of tailored to students at West Orange High School, having like a lot of POC students entering the STEM field, a field where a lot of POC children aren't really prevalent, is something very inspiring and very powerful. So as a student who's been in the STEM field and seen a lot of what's going on and seen a lot of professionals who don't really look like me, kind of brings like a huge smile to my face seeing you guys do something like this. So I'd like to thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Huerta.
Yes, I would just like to say congratulations. I did do architecture, so I did take some of the classes, and in high school is where math clicked for me. And I was always an artist also. So architecture was that like balance for me where I can play around with the numbers and still be able to draw it out. And, you know, thank you. These programs are really important, and just continue to do that great work. Thank you.
Mr. Rothstein.
Yes, congratulations to you all. Your success is this success for our students. And so this is huge. We also, one of the great things about West Orange High School being so big and having so much to offer, it's terrific for the students and for the community, but it's also hard to stay on top of everything. And so this was a really exciting opportunity for me tonight to learn more and hear about each of you and what you're doing and the projects, you know, the bus shelter and the drywall and the other project. I want to see that in the same way that I want to see sporting activities and arts performances. I'd like to have a way to be better informed about what it is that's happening at the school, and obviously such terrific work. So congratulations to you all and thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Merklinger.
Sure. I just want to, I don't want to take up too much time, but I just want to congratulate the team. We're very fortunate to have Mr. Del Gershio as part of our West Orange High School staff and his department. Congratulations to all of you. It's a team effort, and that's truly spoken by Ms. Cohen. So definitely appreciate that. One of the things that I commend West Orange High School about all the time when I talk to anyone about it is it's like a small junior college. We have so many opportunities, and the ability to offer these types of programs, it's just amazing. So thank you for doing the work that you do and bringing the light to the students that really do enjoy this type of work, and it gives them that ability to do so. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Merklinger, and Vice President Tony Clifford.
Thank you. Congratulations again. And I know my sons have benefited from some of your courses and have enjoyed them. And I think, you know, as a board member, when I'm asked, you know, why should I send my student to the high school, it's, you know, your department is one of the reasons why, because we're giving real life, real world experience to students to be able to decide on college and career readiness. It's something that's so important, and there aren't a lot of schools that have this type of program. So we're super proud as a board member of all the work that you do with our children, and it means a lot to the families in our community that they have these opportunities. So thank you so very much for everything that you're doing, and congratulations on this terrific award.
Thank you, Vice President Tony Cliff. And I just echo what all of my fellow board members have said. I mean, you rock. You are the Navy SEALs. You're the West Orange High School SEALs. I am a big fan of Shark Tank. And so that's what I'm like seeing here is like our kids are going to come out of here and they're going to be inventors and scientists and engineers and high tech people. And so we are a comprehensive high school, and you make it that way. So an international award, Woohoo! Great. Thank you for all of your hard work. SGOs. Lesson plans. Thank you so very much. We appreciate everything you do for our students.
Thank you, folks.
All righty, and I think we're up next with our code of governance and best practices, just to give our public a bit of a background. A few weeks ago, the board was presented with a draft of this code of governance best practices. Effective school boards, according to New Jersey School Boards Association, agree on how to do their business. This is not a bylaw. This is not a policy. This is an agreement among the members of the board that this is the way we will conduct our business. This is the way we will conduct ourselves as board members. And so there are 1, 2, 3, 4 big categories. I'm not going to read everything, but it breaks it down to what board members do before a public meeting. And I'll just share that all this paper that, we're shuffling every week, you're wondering what we're doing. We get these packets sometimes on Thursday, no later than Friday. And it's chock full of information that we have to review. And so this will be an agreement among us as to what we do before a public board meeting. During a public meeting, agreed upon how we deport ourselves, comport, what's the word I'm looking for? Comport, deport, we don't want to do that, not yet. The way we comport ourselves at public meetings, being professional, being attentive, reflecting on personal comments, and respecting the majority decision of the board. And then what we do after a public meeting, we uphold all decisions of the board. We respect the individual roles of the board and the administration. And then we have committee meetings. You hear us give committee reports periodically. And so this outlines how we are to conduct ourselves at committee meetings. And so I'm gonna sign it, and then I'm gonna pass it around, and we're all going to declare that for the duration of this board. Of course, I signed it in the wrong place and put my name in the wrong place, but that's okay. Our liaisons, we're not going to have you sign it because it goes into some other things that don't apply. But we do expect that you comport yourselves in the same way that you find us here each evening. All right. So with that being said, I'll have to do another one since I messed this one up. Vice President Tunnicliffe. Oh, why don't you sign on the second line now? Yours is pink. That's fine. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we're signing in pink. That's just fine. And I'll pass it on to Ms. Merklinger, and we'll just keep it going down. And in the meantime, we have some other events that are coming up. Dr. Cascone.
For November 8th, the board meeting?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, so I just want to foreshadow a presentation which will be delivered at the November 8th public meeting, which will be focused on a number of aspects of the district's ongoing work with diversity, equity, access, and inclusion. One of those will be a presentation on post-secondary paths from the class of 2021, including the percentage of students attending 2-year, 4-year, work, military, unknown, and then disaggregating that data by demographics, race, to understand what types of disproportionality, if any, exist between demographic groups for those post-secondary paths and outcomes. Secondly, we will be circling back to our equity audit, which we started last year. We did actually get the survey out at the end of last year. I think with everything going on and people's energy being at sort of empty, we didn't quite get the results we were looking for from the parent and garden community. So we are going to be relaunching that survey this Friday, October 22nd, and we'll be able to provide some updates for the community, not on the results of the survey, that'll take a bit longer, but just to kind of map out for the community what that equity audit work will involve over the course of the year, and when the community can expect that they would get a public report on our findings, as well as other aspects of that equity audit. And finally, the third piece that'll be discussed that evening is an update on our diversity in hiring initiative, all of the actions and the steps taken to date, some additional actions that are on our roadmap moving forward, as well as a presentation of some comparative data of the demographics of the staff a little over a year ago and where we are today after a year of hiring. So those will just be several diversity updates which will be provided. And I'm looking forward to it, in fact.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Cascone.
You're
It's,
welcome.
upcoming updates that I think the public be very interested in hearing about. So thank you.
Indeed.
As we move on to item 9, board policies. This is the second reading and adoption of the following bylaws and board policies. But before we move into that, I just want to preface a motion with some emotion, as this is a project that we undertook 3 years ago. This happened to have been a great interest of mine in getting the board to move into a new policy manual, which is organized by Strauss Esme. Sandra Mordecai, Mrs. Mordecai was on the policy committee with me at that time. And we brought it to the board and the board approved it. And we knew that it wasn't going to be done in a year, but we had no idea that it would be 3 years. But we are at the point now where we are about to approve the final policies as we now turn them over to Strauss Esme to do what they need to do to bring the online policy, the Elon, which will make it extremely easy for parents, for administrators, for students, anyone who is searching for West Orange board policy. It will make it extremely easy and accessible. So this is a very exciting evening for us. I want to thank the board. I want to thank the policy committee. I want to thank everybody. Mrs. Hughes, Dr. Cascone's administrative assistant, who has just been instrumental in making all of this happen. This has been a huge, huge undertaking. And so I just want to commend the board. We decided to do this as a committee of the board as a whole. And it has been a journey. So Mr. Rothstein, Ms. Merklinger, thank you so much as we get to this very important point this evening. And so we are looking at attachment 2. And for the public's information, these are policies that were revised and they have been posted. Board members have had a chance to review. And I'd like to have a motion to approve attachment 2.
I'll motion.
Thank you, Ms. Merklinger. Is there a second?
Yes, I'll second that.
Very appropriately, the committee. Thank you, Mr. Rothstein.
I'd like to third it also if I can.
I hear you. We should get up and fist bump, right? Any discussion? There being none, Mrs. Flowers, would you please do the honors?
Yes. With pleasure. Mrs. Huerta,
Yes.
Ms. Merklinger,
Yes.
Mr. Rothstein,
Yes.
Vice President Tunnicliff,
Yes.
President Triggscales.
Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I second that emotion. All right, we are now up to questions from the public on agenda items, and I would just invite you to the podium. You may remove your mask if you choose to do so. Please state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes to address the board. All righty. We have no questions from the floor. Mrs. Flowers, do we have questions on our Google form?
Yes, we do, President Triggscales.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a question and comment from Ms. Laura Nessner, 504 Eagle, no, excuse me, my apologies. It's from Ms. Sandra Mordecai, Pleasant Valley Way. Under appointments, I noticed the continued build out of special ed programs at Gregory School. Most of the elementary special ed was moved to Kelly years ago to both concentrate efforts and realize cost savings to the district. Instead of having a special ed program at 7 schools with 2 students each. Also, Kelly School has a partnership with Montclair State University for autism. What are the special ed class sizes at Gregory and why aren't they moved combined at Kelly? What are Kelly's class sizes? Of course, in compliance with IEPs and 504s, and bearing in mind one-to-one aids and ratios to maximize learning outcomes for students. Under personnel, I noticed up.
You want to just
Wanna stop
pause
there?
there?
Okay,
I'll answer
sure.
that one. Thanks, Ms. Flowers. So obviously the ideal and the end game and the first plan is always to try and keep our like programs together. If the public sees as evidence and agendas that we're opening classes in other buildings, it's happening out of necessity. And so what do I mean by that? Well, we continue the process of evaluation of students, of classification of students, new students coming to the district. Our reputation for fine special education programs precedes this district. And so we do get a lot of folks who transfer into our district, and we're glad to have them. But we do get students who come in. Mrs. Mordecai is right in the compliance numbers that there are certain types of classes that have maximums. I'm not going to get into the weeds on it. Mrs. Gogarty Fitzgerald would be better apt to discuss that, but there are maximums. And so when we can no longer place any more students in that class, then we're obliged to open new classes. And we're really looking for schools that have the space, that the environment is going to be safe, right? It's not just any old classroom, but it's a classroom that's appropriate for autistic students. Preventing of eloping and things of that nature, which sometimes can be a manifestation of the disability. And so those, that led us to Gregory, and that's why we've done that. But it's always our goal to try and keep like programs together.
Okay, thank you. And her next comment, under personnel, I noticed a lot of backdating of effective dates. These should have been on earlier agendas.
Duly noted and correct. It is, it absolutely should not become a consistent occurrence that backdating occurs. Transparently, we need to get better at that. And really that's by, working with our, our administrative team. I can tell you that our personnel director has put in place very specific deadlines for the submission of paperwork in advance of board meetings, and places out reminders for that. I think what happens, and I think, I might hypothesize here, or I should say, propose a possible explanation for why you're seeing a little bit more. I think is just simply the dynamism and the speed with which things are moving. And sometimes, occasionally things come up quickly, or administrators haven't had the opportunity to get it on. But certainly it is always our goal to have zero retroactive appointments. So I appreciate that question, and we will work to continue to improve that.
President Trigg Scales, those are all the questions and comments on agenda action items.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Flowers. And we are now up to item 11, reports, discussions, and recommendations. And I am going to break these down. We will start with personnel items 1 through 6. And that encompasses attachments 3 through 7. So is there a motion? Personnel items 1 through 6.
So moved.
Thank you, Vice President Tunnicliff. Is there a second?
Yes, seconded.
Thank you, Mr. Rothstein. Any discussion on any of these items in personnel? And that's, of course, covering resignations, retirements, rescissions, appointments.
I had a question.
Pages are stuck together. Leaves of absence and transfers in item 6, which is a sidebar agreement. Yes, Ms. Berta.
I had a question. Let me see what number it is. Hold on 1 second. Under appointments. So that's number 3. Letter K. The approval for the mentor assignment. The stipend was amended from 550 to, I'm sorry, from 1,000 to 550. Could you just explain that a little bit?
Sure. So what happens is sometimes what will happen is when staff members transfer from one district to the other and have started the process. So the total cost, the total reimbursement fee for a full year of mentorship is $1,000. So let's say we had a teacher like this one, for example, that came from a district where in that district, they were only employed for half the year, fulfilling half their mentorship year there. They come here to fulfill the other half a year, and whoever mentors them here gets half the $1,000 stipend as opposed to the full stipend.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or discussion? There being none, Mrs. Flowers, please.
Mrs. Huerta,
Yes.
Ms. Merklinger,
Yes.
Mr. Rothstein,
Yes.
Vice President Tunnicliff,
Yes.
President Trigg Scales.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. And now let's take a look at B, curriculum and instruction. And we're looking at items 1 through 7, attachments 8 through 10. And please note that there is an addendum on attachment number 9 that we all have. May I have a motion to approve curriculum and instruction?
A motion.
Thank you, Ms. Merklinger. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Ms. Huerta. Thank you. Any discussion on these items, curriculum and instruction? Items 1 through 7.
Just could Dr. Katzgone please just give some information about the Yamame program? I think that's really exciting, and I think that would be something that the public would like to know a little
The
bit
what?
about.
I'm sorry. I didn't
I'm
hear.
sorry, under B, item number 5. I said Yamame, but I guess it would be an acronym, LLAM.
Okay. All
In
right, thank
Spanish,
you.
it's called Yamame. I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
All right, I've caught up with you now.
Sure. Thank you for that question, Mrs. Huerta. So this is funds that are being allocated for professional development and training in something known as SIOP, or sheltered instruction, which is a teaching methodology or set of techniques that are used by classroom or content area teachers to support the learning of English language learners in the content area classroom. Essentially, it trains classroom teachers to work with English language learners and to find ways to differentiate and scaffold the material in order that it's more accessible to English language learners at their level, and in order that they're able to demonstrate proficiency and understanding in alternate means, utilizing the language that they have, be it English at their level, or even in some cases, their own native tongue.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cascone.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Tunnicliffe.
Sure. I just wanted to thank the Garden State Equality for providing the professional development on LGBT. I think this is the second or third time we've gotten this grant from them, so we appreciate the support on that.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, so Mrs. Flowers, would you please take a vote for us?
Okay, Mrs. Huerta,
Yes.
Ms. Merklinger,
Yes.
Mr. Rothstein,
Yes.
Vice President Tunnicliffe,
Yes.
President Trigg-Scales.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. And C, Finance. Finance A and B, A, Special Services, B, Business Office. Attachment, well, under A, it's items 1 and 2, and under B, items 1 through 6. And attachment 11. May I have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Huerta. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Vice President Tunnicliffe. Any discussion here under finance?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yes,
I-
please.
Okay, you want to do the donations? That's what I was about to do.
Oh, actually, before, yeah, then I'll leave that one alone, but I did have two before that, or really one before that. So with regards to items 4 and 5, the parental contract for student transportation, there was, so I understand that this is cases where parents are providing transportation for their students. And so there's an agreement for an amount to cover that cost. The question that I forgot to ask about this was, oh my God, and then it just left my head as I'm talking. Is this related in any way to the shortage of buses that we have right now? Are these students who normally would have been transported by buses, but we're trying to find other solutions?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay.
So these parental contracts, right now, the way we communicated with the parents is that even though we're approving these contracts, we're still looking for routes, still trying to put these routes out for bid. So any event that we do get a route for these students, then you will see an amendment going forward.
Got it. And do you know, like, if we did find bus routes to cover this at some point in the future, do these costs become prorated in any way? Okay,
Absolutely.
terrific. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Just for
Thank
clarity.
you. Oh, I'm sorry, Vice President Tunnicliffe.
I was just going to say, and just for clarity, these are for students who are going out of district, right?
Correct. Out of district placements, approved out of district placements.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and we do have 2 donations, and I'm going to ask Dr. Cascone, the first one from the Chatham Board of Ed to the West Orange Board of Ed, and we have 30 smart boards valued at $9,000. Would you mind just telling us how that worked?
Yes, so I'd like to thank you, President Trigg-Scales. I'd like to commend our Director of Technology, Mr. Santiago, who's just well connected and networked within the larger technology director associations, whether they be state or county, and got sort of a message through the boards, if you will, that Chatham was refreshing their smart boards. And Mr. Santiago was quick to hop on it, went over there, inspected them, to ascertain their remaining lifespan and overall condition and deem them to be in, in good condition. And so we've sort of now developed an inventory, some of which will be deployed immediately to units that were starting to fail, and others which will just remain inventory for when those units do fail, they can be swapped out. So we'd like to certainly thank the Chatham School District for their generous donation to our district, and they'll be put to good use.
Great. That's a wonderful friend to have.
Indeed.
Great. And we, as we do very often, the Blackboard Giving Fund, New York Life and its donors, and that money goes directly to West Orange High School. And this time it was in the amount of $120. So we are very appreciative of that. And that moves us right into item 12, petitions and hearings of citizens.
I have to take a vote on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Moving right along too quickly. All right, so Mrs. Flowers, would you please take a vote
Yes, thank
for
you.
us?
Voting for finance, Ms. Huerta,
Yes.
Ms. Merklinger,
Yes.
Mr. Rothstein,
Yes.
Vice President Tunnicliff,
Yes.
President Trixfield.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we're up to petitions and hearings of citizens. On non-agenda items, we have none here on the floor. Mrs. Flowers,
If you
might we have?
If you allow Ms. Flowers, I think it might just be easier for me to just kind of go through here. So our first question comes from Mr. David Wagner. The question is that I noticed 2 COVID cases reported on the dashboard at the high school this week, but did not see a notice posted on the district website. Is there a reason for the discrepancy? What I can, thank you for that. What I can volunteer as a possible explanation is that this past week represented sort of a transition in our communication protocols, which I believe I had outlined in a previous community letter. Previously, my office was handling all of the school-based communications, and it really was difficult to consistently maintain the level of efficiency and expedience that I think we needed. Simply stated, I wasn't always there, or my assistant wasn't always there and available at all hours of the day and night, any day of the week, to be able to get that out, where the principals all have access to their own school messenger distribution lists, and they're typically the ones that are on the line doing that. So we kind of transitioned that school-based communication to the principals, with the website posting responsibility retained by the director of technology. So I think that might have just been a couple of hiccups this week as we kind of transitioned in our first week to this new protocol. But indeed, the principals, I am copied, as is the director of technology, from the principal when those communications go out with the request to place that on the district website. So they should be appearing on the district website anytime a letter goes home from the principal. I think it also happened that second case we got came very late in the week. I think the assistant principal put out the letter like 4:30 or 5 on a Friday. So sometimes when it happens like that, there can be an oversight. But one thing you can guarantee will not be an oversight is that the letter will go home to the school community, and anyone or students that are directly impacted by a school close contact or exposure will absolutely be notified every time, and that is a non-negotiable. I have some commentary here from Ms. Nessner regarding sort of a look back at the conversation that we had, I think, 2 board meetings ago regarding the live performances. And the one line from here I think resonates with me, and I think she's absolutely right, which is we need to be a can is in capital letters, do district. And she's right. And I think that when we first looked at those activities, I think quite frankly, we were being overly cautious. Now, I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, but I do think it was a good learning moment for us to say, okay, let's start with, we want to do this. Can we do it safely? And if ultimately, after we really think through it, we're not comfortable, then we can always go in that direction, but let it be through a really deliberate and thoughtful process of evaluation. So I appreciate that comment from Ms. Nessner, and I agree. And I'm glad that I get to see Glee Night tomorrow in person. So that's exciting. I love to watch the kids perform. Some follow-up questions from Mrs. Mordecai. We have one, so follow-up on questions from July 26th board meeting on the rumor that the ASAP program was being discontinued. Dr. Cascone said he would meet with the WO high school administration over the summer and analyze the program. ASAP holds students accountable, maintain their grades so they graduate on time and have more post-high school options. This continues to be, I have had follow-up conversations with the high school administration. Frankly, we have not performed a comprehensive analysis, but through those conversations, I've sought to get a better understanding of what the history of that program has been and how it's changed over time. And suffice to say, it has changed over time. One takeaway that I would have from this program is that this is a program that I would argue, in order to really be run efficiently and effectively, needs to have some investment of resources. Presently, in the way it was traditionally done is that the teachers of those students that were identified as a need to be in this program would then meet with the students after school. I think what we're seeing, just in terms of the workload that teachers are managing nowadays during the pandemic, teaching all day, masks and things of that nature, and even moving forward, I think that if we want to have a really robust athletic academic support program and for the music program, we need to invest in it. What I've seen over really in the last year or so is that quite frankly, we're trying to shoestring it, and that's not the way you run a good program. All that being said, we continue to review grades. We continue to identify students who are not performing well. Here's a philosophical thing, and something that I spoke to the high school about. We know how important some of these, whether it's the play for students, being in the band, playing music in the band, or athletics, we know how critical these activities are to the overall well-being of the whole child, the whole student, the whole athlete. So I think we have to think very carefully about, do we withdraw the opportunity to participate entirely, or do we allow the child to remain in the activity but place contemporaneous requirements to support the student while they're doing that, and give the student an opportunity to demonstrate good faith effort while maintaining that incentive of playing that sport or playing that instrument or that theatrical performance that means so much. So we're continuing to implement it as we have in the past, but I would really like to see, moving into next year's budget, the introduction of some additional funding, and whether it's for a coordinator or whether it's for additional resources to really supercharge this program up. But make no mistake about it, we remain completely committed to the academic achievement of all our students, and we certainly place a priority on academics, over any other of the activities, but recognize the two go hand in hand. The last question is regarding the appointment of an employee at the last board meeting. Specifically, it was a psychiatrist, which we hired. And, the questions that are in here relative to this person's benefits and pension and, what they're making in another district, it's obviously, I'm not permitted to speak about the nuances of that person's employment agreement. But what I can tell you is that certainly, recognizing that it was a bit different, we vetted it through Board of Education Council, collaborated with other districts in which this individual has employment agreement, and found it to be within the bounds of board policy and statute and code. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Cascone and Mrs. Flowers. All right, and that brings us up to reports from the board president and our board members. So we will begin with Ms. Huerta.
Thank you.
Just back up 1 second. We're earlier than usual. So I'm going to circle back around, and if our student liaisons have any additional comments that they'd like to make, be they brief, we would love to hear them.
One thing I wanted to mention was My bad. One thing I wanted to mention real quick that we didn't mention earlier in our report was the resuming of the club buses. Recently, after getting our club buses back, we've had a lot of students come after school to engage with these club activities. One of the clubs, JSA, I heard they had I think maybe 40 students. The Black Student Union at West Orange High School had, I believe, 20 students in person, 7 students online, actually maybe 15 students online. And Unity Club had, I think, over 20 students. So I just want to say thank you for taking our voice into consideration. And these clubs seem to be alive again. So thank you for that.
President Trigg-Scales? May I?
Please.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Bahram. And I would just add one piece to that, for the public's awareness. We did in fact implement, and the high school designed, funded through American Rescue Plan ESSER funding, is the establishment of after-school study hours or study hall here in the library, which gives the students a place to go between the letting out of the club at 3:30 or 4 and when the late bus comes at 5. So a great collaborative effort, and appreciate the acknowledgement on that, Bahram. Thank you. And for the board.
In additional, oh, wow, that was loud. Additional to that, I am the student advisor for the Jubilee Choir here. And I think right now we have over 45 participants right now, which is pretty large. And also the Glee Choir has also grew in number. With that being said, commenting about how important it is for these programs to keep alive. Personally, for me, I don't have the time to play a traditional sport. I did do wrestling back in middle school, but as I grew older, obviously I'm here. So my time came more constrained. So I fell in love with step. And with that being said, it's just so important for these programs to keep alive and for us to be a can-do district, because I felt like for an amount of time, there was a lot of, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do this. And we're just grateful that things are starting to open back up again. And it's just so great to see the school coming back alive, because I was here during hybrid and it was extremely dead. There was barely anyone here, only me and one teacher in the classroom. So it's such a great opportunity, especially for my senior year, to see everyone coming back together again as a community. And it's a great opportunity just in general to see everyone. So just wanted to say that.
And we're just thrilled. Please know that we are just thrilled that you're thrilled and that it can happen. So thank you for those additional comments. And Ms. Huerta.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments. So I don't have an update on the NEPR committee. We haven't met since our board has come together to kind of get some feedback on what we want to do as a committee. But we do have a bit of an update for the New Jersey School Board Association. They did release the lineup. I know President Trigg-Scales did send us an email on, just to let us know that that was out. So we will be participating in our training for that. I just wanted to say thank you and congratulations to the Athletic Hall of Fame appointees this past weekend. Dr. Cascone was there, and Cheryl was able to be there as well. 2 of my classmates were honored into that Hall of Fame, and I had a really amazing time. It was like a mini school reunion for us. But it was just really great to see the community and people who have come before us doing really great things in the community. Tomorrow night is Broadway night. I'm looking forward to that as well. And just the sports have been amazing so far too. I've been able to go to some of the football games with my children. They enjoy it. Cheryl brought out the little cheerleaders from the PAL, and my daughter she wanted to go and cheer with them. So I'm gonna have to be looking into that kind of program right now for her. And that's all my updates for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Huerta. Ms. Merklinger?
So Scott and Melinda kind of stole a lot of my stuff for tonight, so I'll keep it brief, but you know, it was great. Last week was a really great week for the West Orange community. Like Melinda said, the Hall of Fame was last week. So I just want to recognize those folks, Anthony Castellino, Gwen Abreu, Pete Feinblatt, David Joycel, Ryan McPherson, Troy Henderson, and near and dear to my heart, Joe and Lou DePasquale. And then the boys 2003 soccer team along with Coach Nevins. And I also want to recognize the Hall of Fame committee, Kat Connors, Lou Delapia, Mr. Zakella, and Mr. Moore. They did a great job. It was a wonderful night. It was beautiful. And it was really nice to be able to tie, they kind of had a theme of tying the past with the present. So for some of the introductions, former players or former coaches introduced the Hall of Fame inductee. So it was really nice to see that tie, especially for the 25th Hall of Fame. So congratulations to all those folks, and to thank you to the committee for putting such a wonderful event together. Last week was also homecoming. It was also a pink out from the West Orange High School cheerleading team. So the homecoming royalty, just want to congratulate Kylie Capstra and Ayush Naran for their recognition and awards. Our girls soccer team for winning the Essex County tournament. But going back to homecoming, I did just want to throw a shout out to James Felton, who sang the national anthem. It was awesome. So to see someone who's not only athletic, but also tying in their musical talent, that was just amazing. And just speaking to something kind of, Gary, you mentioned it last week about the facilities that we have here at West Orange High School. For those, I think almost all of us were there that night, but down on Degnan Field, Mountaintop was playing softball. We had soccer going on over on Lincoln. We had the football game going on at the high school with cheerleaders, the marching band. Not only was it just the marching band, but prior to the game starting, they had the middle school performers. So it was just an all around great event for West Orange, and just so great to see so many people out enjoying each other's company and having a good time. So I just want to congratulate the entire community for being willing to come out, and just it was just a really nice night to have everyone out there. So thank you to everyone that put together each and every part of that that night. And then again, Broadway nights tomorrow night, tomorrow night. So hope everyone goes out to see that.
Thank you, Ms. Merklinger. And we had two other, we had another king and queen that night, our 18 to 21-year-olds. And I know it was Gabriel, and I don't have Gabriel's last name, and his queen. I don't have her name, but I don't want to not include them because we had two crownings that evening. So they were our king and queen, and certainly they are royalty as well. And Mr. Rothstein.
All right, I think we all showed up with the same topics tonight. So I'm going to just circle back briefly to policies and say thank you again to everybody on the board for stepping up and helping. This has been the job of multiple boards, and for stepping up and getting this over a really significant milestone tonight. We'll need to follow up on next steps. Yes, Dr. Cascone, I'm looking at you. And poor Mrs. Hughes, if she were here, I'd be looking at her too. But I just want to make sure that that we're all clear on what the next steps are, and that Strauss Esme gets everything from us that they need in order to take these next steps.
Might I suggest that we schedule some time with Strauss Esme, perhaps in the next, maybe a conference call or a video conference, kind of, so we can sort of talk through that.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll speak with Ms. Hughes about getting that set up.
Terrific. Thank you so much. And also just wanted to state that, I think that we've said it before, several of us have said it before, but it's not like now that this is done, policies are, locked and carved in stone, and this is the way it is. We as a board are aware that things change over time, and there's always going to be a need and an opportunity to go back and revisit policies and sharpen things up where they need to be sharpened. What's really special about what happened tonight is that it puts the district on sound footing with a clear set of policies and guidelines, allows us to draw that line in the sand and say, we're here, we're done, and now we get to start again. Really moving through and making sure that that we continue to meet the needs of the district through policies. So it'll be a never-ending job, but this was a great milestone. And then one last thing really quickly, this might be kind of, I don't know, it might not be that smart, but I thought about it and I'm going to share it. I've been watching in the news a lot about the freighters that are stuck out in the ocean and the docks that are all overloaded and the lack of truck drivers in order to move merchandise out and the impact that this is having on the economy as a whole. And as overwhelming and challenging and difficult as it can seem, I know there are a lot of smart people out there who are working on this problem and who are going to resolve it. Things will move again. And what in my brain sort of connected with that is the issue of clubs and buses and the impact that that has on moving students forward where they need to be. And I know this is a really challenging time that we haven't dealt with before, and being able to provide, in a way that, to metaphorically tie together the cargo that's out on the ships, it needs to get delivered. And the opportunities that are provided students in these clubs and organizations is something that needs to happen, and students need to be able to get home from there. And there's this big logistical problem that needs to be solved, and it's frustrating, and it's being dealt with all across New Jersey and all across the United States. I know these issues will be solved. It's going to take time, whether it happens this school year, next school year. I don't know how long these things will take, but the thing that I wanted to share is the optimism that we all view this as important. This isn't just a small thing. We all view this as critically important and a big problem to solve. And I know that with the right minds on it, it will get solved and things will eventually move forward the way they should. And that was it.
Thank you, Mr. Rothstein and Vice President Tenfler.
Thank you, President Trigg-Scales. The two things I wanted to talk about tonight are both things coming out of New Jersey school boards. As one of my colleagues had mentioned, we are participating next week in the New Jersey School Boards workshop that is required for our board certification. And one of the committees that I'm on here is for the Sustainable New Jersey, and Mr. Del Gercio here who was here earlier, heads up that committee, and it's a committee of faculty, community members, students, and some board members on that. And I believe Ms. Merklinger is on that as well with me. And one of the things that came out of the New Jersey Department of Education this last week was that beginning with the 22-23 school year, that New Jersey schools will become the first in the nation to incorporate climate change curriculum into K-12 classrooms. I know many of our classrooms and grade levels are already doing this, but it's nice to see the backing from the state as well. And they've released a set of climate change resources for teachers to use that have different instructional strategies, literature, standards-based lessons by grade level and subject. There's videos, and it's comprehensive, so it incorporates all 7 content areas. So those would be the 21st century life, careers, comprehensive health and physical education, science, social studies, technology, visual and performing arts, and world languages. Math and ELA will be reviewed at another time. Their review wasn't up in this 5-year cycle. But I did want to mention that because that's pretty exciting. And New Jersey, again, leading the way on a national level for climate change. So I'm pretty proud of that. And the second thing I wanted to talk about, and this is directed to all parents and students out there, is that New Jersey School Board has issued a call for Garden State Film Festival entries. And this is encouraging students to submit entries to the Garden State Film Festival's student submission category. And this year it's entitled New Jersey Hometown Documentary Short. And this category is reserved for works that are written, directed, and shot by New Jersey high school students. The films must focus on some aspect of their hometown. Topics can include profiles of interesting persons, places, time periods, or subjects related to the arts. So this is this category was created to encourage young filmmakers' creativity while instilling a sense of pride in their hometowns. And I think West Orange, as we can all agree, has some wonderful history, and it is a great subject for this type of film. So I'd like to encourage our students to submit. They're asked, entries have to be turned in on their own or through their schools by January 6th of 2022. And there's an event that goes with this that'll take place March 23rd to 27th in 2022 in Asbury Park. And that'll include a gala ceremony and a reception, and ends with the Black Tide Preferred Awards banquet. So where they give out the best in various categories of films. So it sounds pretty exciting. And I'm wondering if we can get this somehow up on the website with the link and the information, if that would be possible, or on the high school website.
Actually, if you forward me information, Vice
Sure.
President Tunnicliffe, I'd be happy to send that out.
Great, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
And that's all for me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I was winking at Miss Graptiza over there in the corner. Wink, wink. You got it? You got it? Okay. All righty. Those names came to me, the king and the queen, Gabriel Evans and Angelica Hercules. So congratulations to Gabriel and Angelica. All right, and I have a number of quick things. Just realizing October is just chock full of celebrations: Italian Heritage Month, Indigenous Peoples Day, LGBTQ plus History Month, and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And thank you to Ms. Binns and Ms. Matz here at the high school, who are sharing good ideas with colleagues for all of the celebrations this month. A lot going on. And yes.
It just occurred to me, there's one other, if I might remind, that I mentioned in my letters, school principal recognition month, which I had mentioned in my letter, and I meant to mention in my preamble, but I'm just so darn thankful and proud of the work that those folks have been putting in. And obviously we couldn't do any of the things we're doing without them. So I just wanted to mention that. So if there are any principals out there listening, thank you, and we appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. Principals. Assistant principals. Very important people, very important people. And I want to thank Ms. Elizabeth Redwine and Ms. Gina Velasquez for actualizing their ideas about the magnets for our community. And I left it in the other room. I was going to show it, but I have a picture on my cell phone. Can you zoom in on that magnet? Oh, you got it? Great, great. Technology. So it says, I heart West Orange Public Schools. And around it, it says diversity, equity, inclusion, and respect. All those things that we value here in West Orange. And the magnets were on sale at the homecoming game, and they will be showing up for availability in the schools and other events. But I ask that everybody who lives in West Orange buy a magnet. They're only $5. And the proceeds go to the West Orange Warriors, which is a new club. And it includes our 18 to 21-year-olds and making sure that they are fully included in the activities of West Orange High School, not just invited, but included and embraced. And so we thank Ms. Redwine and Ms. Velasquez for sharing that West Orange spirit with the community. And I just wanted to send a special shout out on behalf of the board to our school nurses and custodial staff for all of their careful and persistent work since we've returned our staff and students to the buildings. And of course, we recognize the hard work of our staff and support staff for their diligence. We are aware that it's not easy. As Dr. Cascone said, we want to think of it as normal, but we're not there yet. But we just really want to recognize the additional work that our staff, and in particular, as I said, our nurses and our custodians are taking on larger responsibilities than they have in the past. Let's see, coming up on November 12th and 13th is the Laramie Project, which is a Friday and a Saturday, November 12th and 13th at 7 o'clock. Tickets are $15 and they go on sale on November 1st, and you can get tickets at the door or at woboe.org/West Orange High School WOHS Drama Tix, TIX. And so we hope that you'll come out and join us for that evening. And then I wanted to mention that our own Maura Baker, who is a junior here at the high school, is going to be the student keynote speaker at the New Jersey School Boards Association workshop, which is the equivalent of a convention. And we couldn't be prouder of Maura. She is a member of the State Department Board of Ed. She's the student liaison for the state. And I had asked Dr. Cascone if we can get Maura here one evening and she can fill us in on what her journey has been like. And we're just so proud, you know, when you see that West Orange on the agenda, you know, it just felt really good, really good.
It shall be done.
Thank you. And let's see, board goal number 5, we had started some work on that action plan, and Rhoda, you guys weren't here for that meeting. But what we're doing here is looking for actions that can increase the board's public relations presence. So think about it. And if you have some things you want to share, you could shoot them to Dr. Cascone. I suppose that would be easier.
Absolutely.
And for my fellow board members, we had come up with these items: newsletter, using social media to drive interest back to the website, board member attendance at PTA meetings. The student liaisons last week came up with an Instagram account for the board, and also getting information to the teachers and administrators. And then we talked about coming attractions at board meetings, board briefs, and to establish and publicize a district communications chain of command, and to also use the resources that are available to us. So we'll work on that next time, but I wanted to just say, if you have additional items, just send them to me. And Charlene has sent us an action plan, so we can actually start putting that together for the PR committee and starting to move on some of these. And we have a master calendar on our district webpage. So we threw that out there and it's done. So thank you, Dr. Cascone and Mr. Santiago, right?
Absolutely.
Who made that happen.
Yes,
All righty, and I think I'm at the end. Excuse me. So we're ready to talk about our next board meeting that will be held on November 8th at 7:30 p.m. right here at West Orange High School. And at this point in time, I would like to call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Vice President Tunnicliffe. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Ms. Huerta, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, this meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you for joining us this evening.